Hi, this is Ben Colby from the Enoch Pratt Teen Center with an advanced level video to create a mystery egg sculpture. Now let's think for a second about this situation. This design is going to use some stuff that's arranged in roughly this shape, or in this way. And so you have a bottom piece and a top piece that fits into it. And I guess this would be the outside and this would be the inside. Let's look at these two places on the outer piece and think about how they're going to print correctly. The bottom is obviously fine. Oh, I'm sorry. And the green part, actually, you may think that there would be an issue with the green part, but it'll actually probably be fine. As long as what's next to it is stable, you can stick out a little bit. Assuming this is small, like a couple of millimeters, it'll be fine. You can jump out a couple of millimeters and create a horizontal surface. This is the bigger problem right here, because this is a whole piece that it needs to be sitting on something. We can't just start it in air or it's going to become spaghetti. It's going to just go crazy and ruin the print. One way to solve that would be to put supports everywhere. Another way to solve it would be to kind of create our own little support. If you just put a little pin between the two pieces, it is likely to be enough to hold up the top and make it stable and allow us to keep going. So that's the basic idea for how we're going to create this shape today. I'm going to go ahead and start a new design in Tinkercad. And let's make an egg shape with a stable bottom. You always want to make sure your stuff has a flat bottom if possible. So I guess I could just stretch a sphere. That's not exactly the same as well, I guess, yeah, that's fine. So I'm just going to take a sphere, stretch it up a little bit, make it larger. And let's see, I'm going to try to do the trick where I center it right on a cross point, because I'm going to be lining up multiple things. And I'm going to have to change my snap grid down to 0.5 to get that right on that cross point, just like that. Good. So I've got kind of an egg going, and I'm going to duplicate that egg. I now have two copies, even though they look the same. I'm going to shrink this one slightly. I just went from 59 down to 54, which means that I have about 5 extra. We're changing that one to a whole. We are recentering it as closely as we can right on the cross point. It looks like it's not 100% perfect yet. Oh goodness, I have to go down even a little more on the snap grid to get it perfect. That's okay. Now it looks perfectly centered. And let's think how high I need to raise this. The height is 79 compared to 85. So about 3. See if I can grab the whole shape again. Yeah. So if I want it to be centered, I want to raise this by about 3 off the ground. And before I do the cutout, I'm going to add a flat bottom like I was saying. How about this half sphere shape? Stretch it to be large. I guess we should recenter it on the same point as everything else. Get it close first. This one, I suppose, doesn't have to be perfectly centered. That's very close. So now, if I group together the egg, the base, and the hole, I should now have a hollow shape. Now, I can't see on the inside. Let's just test and make sure that it worked. I'm going to take a hole, I'm going to make it large. Let's stretch that up and just do a little cut. So if I wanted to merge these two shapes now, it would take a slice out of the middle and I would be able to see, yep, that's what the middle looks like. So let's just keep this handy because we're going to want to be checking, well, what's the best way to do this? I guess we're going to want to start working on the inside and putting stuff on the inside. So we are going to want to, yeah, so we're going to want to cut this in half. So one way to do that is to copy and paste and just try to cut it roughly in the center. So this is 85, half of 85 is, I don't know, 42 to 43. So if our thing is 42 to 43 off the ground, our hole, and then I just lift it up to cover everything. If I just group that, I'm good. And actually, I want to make a copy of that before I use it. Oops. Nope. Just of the hole. Because I'll use that one over here. Great. So this one I'll regroup, and we can start making stuff on the inside. And then we're also going to create the lid, which I guess I can just leave the bottom locked at that point and just stretch this down. That's an interesting way to do it. Just stretch the height to negative. And then you can ensure that it's at exactly the same horizontal slice point. And so I group that. And if I look from underneath, it's hollow, and I can move that around. Fantastic. Let's start by creating a very thin, or let's use cutouts instead of, yeah, it'll distort the shape slightly if we use cutouts, but that's okay. I'm going to create a ring that, I guess it doesn't matter how tall it is, but it needs to be roughly the same size as the outside. And I'm going to use this as a, oops, I'm going to use this as a cutout. So let's make it a cutout. And I want to cut out the outside part here. Let's shrink this down. My goodness. Having trouble. Need to zoom out. There we go. So that's still, I need to get this centered. I guess I should try to also center it right on, is it possible for me to even see? Nah, that's okay. I'll just try to use those fine controls. So I'm looking to cut it about halfway through the width of this. So this is still not quite cutting enough. Just making it slightly smaller. And a little smaller than that. Because I want to be cutting about half of the outside away. I think I still want to cut more, don't I? Yeah. That might be too much now. This is kind of hard to line up. But I think now maybe I finally got it. Anyway, I'm gonna run with this. How far down does it cut out? Well, I better cut it at least a little bit. Let's overlap just that much. Okay, so let's see what this looks like once I do the cut. Oh, I didn't center it very well. This would probably still work, but let's fix it. Yeah, I should have seen that coming. Got a little out of place. Oops, nope. Just adjusting the hole. Oh yeah, how did that work? I made it too small. Sorry about this. Hey, but I think finally maybe I've got it. Okay, good. How's it look? Excellent. I've just cut a lip off of the edge. Very nice. And let's see. So I want, what would happen if I just put that? I think I really do need to do a cutout from the inside too. Yeah, I do. So let's, I'm going to ungroup that and just make a copy of this so that I can use it again. Or you know what, it's a completely different shape, so I'll just make a new one. And in this case, let's just use a cylinder. And again, I just want to cut out about half of the outside to create a little lip that will fit over the other one. Oops. Okay, getting there. Needs to be bigger still. So that we are getting there, still bigger. Okay, try to even out the shadows all the way around. And are we cutting it all into the bottom when we do that? Let's see. So this I want to actually now lower the height of until it just cuts out a little bit. Oh, you can see the top lip of it there. We're almost there. I do want to make this a little bigger. And recenter it. And you're only going to have room for a little bit on the outside. Let's see what that looks like when I group it. So now I've created a lip on the inside. It's kind of hard to see. Goodness. What if I hit F? Oh, hey, I hit the F key, and that's much better. Yeah, but this, you know what? I need to cut more. Ungroup. Needs to be just slightly bigger. Uh-oh. Undo. Just select the hole. That was too much. Well, I think I've centered it now. This might fit. I'm gonna cheat here actually, because I think I still haven't quite cut out enough for this to fit perfectly. But I'm just gonna cheat and say that I'm just gonna make the whole thing bigger. Instead of 59, I'm gonna stretch it up to 60. Exactly. 60 by 60. Okay. And I need to get a move on here. I've taken too long to do this, but I'm going to leave the mystery part up to you. You can put anything you want in the middle of here. This is all going to print all at once, though. You could, if you wanted, put this on the ground and just print it as a separate thing, but this stacking method, it's used mainly for mass production, but I still want to teach it to you. So I'm going to go to the shape generators. I think the circular array is the best way to do it, and that is it really should be toward the front. There are a lot. Oh, circular array. It's on page 13. And the nice thing one of the nice things about a circular array is that you can change it from a square to a custom profile, and that allows you to drag the shape of whatever it is. I would really like to have a thin pin shape. Yep. And in fact, I'd really like a super thin pin shape and a small pin shape. It's okay if it kind of gets warped a little bit. But so I've got a little hourglass kind of shape happening here. That will work. I'm going to flatten it to be just a few millimeters high because we don't really need much. I definitely need more than 8 copies. I'm going to need a lot of copies, like, I don't know. 36 is fine. And this, can I just lower this size also? Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm lowering the size because I need these to be small. Still at least 1 millimeter wide, I would say, or maybe a little less would be fine. Let's try to line this up now along the bottom. And what this will function to do is hold up the other side. I still need to make it smaller, don't I? And maybe now that it's so tiny, I can widen it a little here and stretch it a little here. Okay. And I'm going to have to shrink the size of the entire shape so that it fits pretty close around the outside here. Oops. Oh, you know what? I think I can use the align tool. Can I select 2 things and align? And I'm going to... Oh, did it just automatically do it for me? No. Yeah. Oh, that's good. So I just used the align tool to kind of... It looks like it is... Is it not perfectly even? It's okay if you get little bits sticking out. The important thing is that these pins make it all the way to the outside. So let's just stretch our shape just a little more. Oops. Not selecting both, just selecting the pins. So that they extend to the outside. And I'm going to lift, I guess I don't really need the pins to extend up very much. You only need 2 or 3 little layers in the print. Okay, so I'm taking too much time. There's all kinds of things you could do with the middle here to put inside your mystery egg. But if I go ahead and line this up, and let's actually use that align button again. If I hit the center, I think that will automatically do it. Does it look like it's sticking out roughly the same everywhere? The pins are not going all the way up, I can see. So let's actually extend the pins a little bit. Let's move them up there. Oops, that messed up. Yeah, they're 1 millimeter. It's actually, you don't really need it to be. I'm going to lower this just slightly by like, yeah, 0.5 millimeter. Okay. My theory is that this will print perfectly, and after the print, you'll be able to cut these away with scissors or something and remove it. So let's just double check with another hole that we've kind of got it right before I stop here. So I'm just going to drag a box over and then change it so that it's just going to cut off the part that I'm looking for. I just want to take a little cross section there to see if I've got everything looking okay. Oops. Oh. See what that looks like. Yeah. Yeah. So I can see that the pins look really nice, but I think I cut the hole a little bit too low because I want to see where the transition is. Let's try that. I still don't have the outside part. Just raising it up just a little more. Another 1/2 millimeter. So now we've done the transition. Oh boy, it's not perfectly centered, is it? Easy to fix. Or how about this? Instead of really fixing it, let's just stretch the the bigger shape to be just slightly larger again. Okay, but I'm other than that, I'm satisfied. I'm not going to keep doing this. But the big shape is going to go just from 60 to 60.5 this way. And it's going to go from 60 to 60.5 this way. Okay, so now I have a mystery egg that will print okay. All right, Shift F.